I have with me again Kwafo Adarkwa, who's the Director of Public Affairs for ITC Holdings. And of course, we're doing a series all year long about the ITC Energy Report. And in this segment, we're going to be talking about electric vehicles and Michigan's path to EV adoption. And so, Kwafo, let's talk about that. So, thanks for joining us and kick things off by telling viewers again what ITC is. I know what it is, you know what it is. They may not know. So, go ahead.
Yeah, pleasure, Mike. And again, the internet thing is always very funny. But ITC, for those that don't know, is the nation's largest independent electric transmission provider. We're the in-between between power plants and where power is generated to end-use customers like you and I at home. But we're the energy superhighway, if you will. We operate in 8 different states, especially here in Michigan. And we right now are looking forward to what's happening in the world of electrification. In my role as Director of Public Affairs, I'm trusted with making the public policy environment conducive to the company's business, to business models, and working on things like electrification for the betterment of not only the company, but the state as a whole.
So EVs certainly are dominating the conversation these days in the headlines and whatnot. And as we move forward into EVs, is the electrical grid going to be able to handle that essentially?
Yeah, so there's a lot of exciting things going on. It's a really exciting industry to be in right now, to tell you the truth, Mike. When you think about electrification, it goes beyond just EVs. It's changing the processes on which we heat our homes, light our businesses, and so many other things that are happening. But thinking about the grid and the readiness of the grid, I'm actually pleased to let you know that through the Mid-Continent Independent System Operator, or MISO, which is kind of the air traffic controller, if you will, of electricity, they've got a series of projects in the long-range transmission plan, which you may hear about as time goes on, and collaborative effort among stakeholders, being the states, throughout the 17-state region in MISO, looking at that next wave of electricity deliverability throughout the region. So you're talking about transmission projects that provide fit for electrification, but also for the renewable push that's happening throughout the middle part of the country. So I'm very excited about that. I think our grid will be ready at the time, but it's going to take collaborative effort amongst policymakers, folks in my business, folks in the automotive sector. A lot of folks are going to have to work together very quickly to meet that need that's coming. I saw some information that you're looking at about 6 million EVs on the road by 2030, a lot of net zero requirements for states throughout the Midwest and around the country. So I think the grid will be ready when it needs to be, but the work has to start right now.
Well, my question then was, what's your role then? I know you were explaining the grid and all that, but what's your role actually in the deployment of electric vehicles? Now, are you doing that as well?
Yeah, well, without question, we're working with all sorts of partners, both here in Michigan and other places as well, to be that backbone infrastructure. We talk about last mile delivery. Those are the Amazon vans you see around. Those are the FedEx vans you see around. When you talk about large scale highway electrification, when you talk about all these things in the electric vehicle sector and what they're going to need for charging, transmission is in the middle of all that, Mike. That is really the backbone. That's why it's so exciting to be involved in this space, because we sit at the gateway to get the future of Michigan and other places to that next level, to be able to have no range anxiety, no worries about that, to be able to charge a vehicle and go up to Traverse City, go over to Chicago, go down to Columbus. We are going to be right at the fulcrum of that, working with partners throughout our state and throughout our region. So very excited for what the future holds and the transmission that's going to be needed to accommodate that future where we go.
As we've discussed before, it takes upwards of a decade for you guys to build out the whole network, the grid, when you have to go into different parts where you weren't before. Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about how you're approaching that. I mean, it's part of it is you got to be guessing, right? I mean, who knows exactly what's going to happen in 10 years? So how do you pull that off?
Well, you definitely try to take what we call educated guesses. Our transmission planning folks are working tirelessly to figure out what that future looks like and tries to shape that future. Again, I go back to the work that MISO is doing with that long-range transmission plan. That's a forward look. If I look backwards, 10 years in the past, we're still constructing some of those projects we were trying to do in years past with the multi-value projects at a MISO that we're also looking to put on some of the renewables. And I would say that at this point, those projects are fully maxed, in terms of what's happening on the system and how much capacity they can hold. We are already up against it right now for future planning. So again, our planning engineers, we have so many of them at ITC, so many folks here, like myself in the policies world, we're trying to find that future and we're trying to figure out what's the best course of action. We know electrification is going to be a part of it. We're happy to be involved with that. We want to bring policymakers to the table. We want to bring automakers to the table. We want to work collaboratively because we know the future is going to be electrified. It's going to be bright. We're going to be at the center of it. And we need to plan today in 2022 for 2032 because that's right around the corner before you even know it.
Absolutely. So there's still a lot of hesitancy on the part of people about buying electric vehicles for a variety of reasons, but part of that is the range issue. Of course, you guys don't have anything to do with the range issue, but you do hook up the charging stations and whatnot. And that infrastructure is way short of the mark at this point for a lot of people. Now, let's talk a little bit about that. Should people be concerned about whether or not they should buy an electric vehicle now, or should they wait till later? Or what's your opinion on that?
No, I don't. I don't think. I know range anxiety is a fear, and if we were having this discussion 10 years ago, I would say, oh, maybe you want to think about it. There's steps being taken. Again, I wouldn't be talking to you if I didn't have full faith and confidence that we are going to get to a place where range anxiety is a thing of the past. I think there's a lot of charging infrastructure in place. Companies like ITC putting that backbone transmission is going to help with a DC fast charge to get you closer to that internal combustion engine feel, like when you go to a gas station nowadays. So many EV models on the market. The technology is fast changing every day. I say if you are looking to buy an EV, makes all the sense in the world. ITC is here to build that infrastructure to allow you, if you're making those long road trips, to do that, to electrify our fleets as well. We're here to do that as well, to be that backbone. And I think, the future is going to be electric. You look at what the automakers in our state are doing right now, they're making a big bet on electricity. And I tend to go with where they're going and where they see the future. And again, we're trying to build for that future to go alongside those partners, both in the automotive world and the utility world as well.
All right. And so if people want to find out more about ITC, want to find out what's going on ITC News, I know you have a news section at your website. Why don't you tell them how to do that?
Yeah, as always, appreciate the time today. ModernizeTheGrid.com, also ITC Holdings.com. We're on social media, we're on Twitter, we're on LinkedIn, all those places where you can find the latest and greatest of what's happening here at ITC. And a pleasure to be with you this afternoon, Mike.